Welcome to Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson, the podcast where we head down the road of the supernatural and beyond. So, sit back and hold on as we take a ride together to what lies in the unknown and beyond the veil. Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson presents guest host, composer Christopher Jordan. Christopher composes instrumental music incorporating everything from frequencies from within the solar system to binaural beats and even brainwave frequencies. His soothing and calming music is designed to help listeners relax, and each track is designed to be used as a tool for meditation and to help listeners reach deeper levels of relaxation and self-exploration. And now your host, Daniel Jackson, with part one of Frequencies for Your Mind.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson. Me, Daniel Jackson. I'm your host, and today we have Christopher Jordan. Christopher is a composer, and he composes music that has to do with meditation. Is that correct, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. Binaural beats, brainwave frequencies, frequencies of the planets, all kinds of things. Daniel.
And how do you figure out? I mean, because when you're composing music, it's about composing sounds and coming up with melodies, those types of things. I get that. I was a drummer in a rock band for a while. Back when I had big hair and zebra striped spandex, but yeah, it wasn't pretty. But but I wasn't actually composing music all the time. I was just playing the drums. But you are a composer, so being a composer means that you're not just playing one instrument, and you have an idea, you have a direction of which way this is going to go. Sometimes it does change in the middle of that.
Sure.
But how do you go about this?
Well, I start off with the binaural beat, and for those unfamiliar, at least a lot of the music I do nowadays is for meditative purposes, for therapeutic purposes, things like that.
That's what I use to meditate is binaural beats.
And I incorporate binaural beats. I came to the world of binaural beats probably about 25 years ago. Early in college, late high school, I highly got into the concept of subliminal marketing, subliminal psychology.
Sure.
It just fascinated me. And that is when I first started finding out about brainwave frequencies, about ways that brainwave frequencies had been researched and manipulated, and
Sure.
Learned about lens field goggles, the blue field, and subtract any sound. And after a while, your brain just starts seeing geometric things, and how your brain wants to generate these things, and can readily generate them if you kind of start muscle responsing it, the same way that
Correct.
if you train your biceps to lift 100 pounds, before you know it, man, you're bench pressing a lot, and your brain can do the same thing. It's really interesting. It's a very flexible, malleable muscle that, in addition to learning so much, can also reflect information and respond to information when it's provided that. There is a principle in physics called entrainment that binaural beats works off of. The principle in physics is basically the fact of two things want to syncopate. If you take two pendulums and swing them opposite directions, they'll eventually sync up.
Right.
Then they'll fall out of sync, same way if you're walking with a friend down a hallway, you'll eventually step on the same foot at the same time and fall into sync and then fall out. Right. Your brain wants to do that. It's a relaxing thing, like we actively, Daniel, probably run through a good 85% of our life in an autonomic state of existence.
Sure.
I mean, if I don't know. Yeah. And I mean, our bodies naturally breathe without us thinking about it. Even if you take an hour-long commute every day, how much of that hour do you remember?
Right.
On your way home? You
Right.
probably remember the first 5 minutes and the last 10. The rest of it, you're in a rote state of habit. You know where you're going. It's no different than the muscular response of walking.
Yes, like in the same way where sometimes when you're driving and you're doing the same commute back and forth every single day, and then sometimes you get to a point you're like, I'm here already?
Yeah. You fall into a hypnotic state. It's really strange. And our brains want to be in that state of free range, where things are taken care of and it's inside of a rote pattern, you know.
Do you think it's because we get to a point where we're letting go of everything else because we've gotten rid of all the pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, anguish stuff that was going in our mind, an hour earlier when we were at work, but now
Yeah.
we're at a state of relaxation and it starts to go away.
Yeah, I think that it is so much, Daniel, of what we are as people roots right to what we are as animals.
Sure.
Roots right back to what this beautiful organ in our head has been developed to do, which is help us survive. You
Do you
know?
truly believe though it is the brain itself? Because as,
Well, I
as
mean,
like when I see spirit or I talk to people about spirit and people say, can I talk to my mom and dad or if I get some information or what like that, within them being spirit themselves, they don't have a body anymore. They don't sleep,
yeah.
eat, breathe, they don't smell, they don't have a brain
Well,
anymore, but they're still able to communicate. So do you believe that that's part of the soul as well?
Well, I believe that our intelligence, most definitely. I mean, intelligence is the knowledge that we gain while we're alive. That
Right.
carries along with us.
Right.
The conversation that I have on my show and on most of these shows regularly is the one of vibration, and
Yes.
the fact of we are energy, we are vibration. That energy cannot be created or destroyed. It
Right.
only changes form by the law of conservation of energy.
Right.
Um,
As I tell people, when you're getting that wonderful song that's coming through, we all have
yeah,
that one song we listen to, and then you get the goosebumps. But I tell them that's not a nervous thing. That's your soul coming through. That's your
yeah,
soul, your vibration of your soul connecting with this, and
yep.
because you like it.
Hey, a shameless promotion for Pink Floyd here, Daniel. I will honestly say Pink Floyd Division Bell.
Yeah, good song,
People
right?
ask me what and
Yeah, the
why.
whole album
Like,
was.
what is it about that? And I don't know, but it's like a warm hug to me.
Yeah,
And you can just about be guaranteed if you step into this room before noon every day, you will probably hear it trailing off or starting.
sure,
I
sure.
listen to
It
that
gets you,
album about once a day. It
and it's
gets
almost
me,
like a meditation for you,
yeah.
correct?
It gets me into my place.
Right.
It helps me find a certain peace, a certain calm inside.
Does your
And
wife like that, or is she tired of it
my
and walk
wife,
out?
no, my wife is okay with Pink Floyd. I don't know if
Okay,
I would have married anybody that wasn't okay with Pink Floyd, Daniel.
sure.
That's just such a huge part of my life musically.
Yeah,
But at the same token, she gets it and she understands that. She understands that it's like almost a part of my regimen. It's no different than waking up and doing morning prayer or meditation for
yeah,
me. You know, it is a ringing moment for me that sets my day in a certain way.
sure. I have
And
a couple of songs that I like whenever I hear them, like "Carry On Wayward Son" by
oh yeah,
Kansas, or
yeah.
"Foreplay Long Time" from
Mm.
Boston. That one just gets me in the mood. I'm good.
Oh yeah, especially as a drummer.
Yeah,
And that's the thing. Our brains want these comfort things. There's a
yes,
reason why um, our senses carry us into so many different places, hold so many different things, and lock in parts of who we are. Daniel,
yeah,
our sound, our smell. All I need to do is smell roux cooking, and it's like a bathe of memories from childhood, even if I'm
sure,
the one who's cooking it.
sure.
And suddenly I'm not there. I'm literally transported somewhere, and it's pretty
Right.
remarkable. Um, there was a recent study that was done showing that people who listen to heavy metal music regularly are more relaxed
Yeah,
than the average
you would
person.
think, but
And
yeah,
it's funny though, because I was talking with somebody in another interview just a while back, and they were into rock and roll. I mixed rock and roll and was a rock and roll live engineer for many years.
oh, oh,
And it was funny. There was always this deep sigh feeling, like collective release at the end of a night of heavy metal. at the club, as opposed to like, you know, the continuous joy that was in the room on Grateful Dead night.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
may have been some angst, there may have been some, but it was all directed for a specific reason,
Right.
and it was let go of.
Right.
It wasn't held on to, it wasn't harbored. You were there to let it go.
Yes, you were there to let it
And
go.
that's pretty therapeutic.
Yeah, you take away all their everything else that's
Yeah.
going on in the world from
Well,
that day, and you relax them by
yeah,
them being joyful by what they're listening to, and
that's
maybe
it.
some of them are out there banging their heads and doing whatever. But again, they're not paying attention to what their day was when they got into an argument with their boss. Now they're just
That's
like,
right.
let that go, and this is something that's it's bringing him to a different state of what we would call a different state of mind.
Well, yeah, and absolutely. No different than, I mean, one person achieves their prana and their oneness and zen in a state of lotus pose, Daniel.
Yeah.
Another achieves it in a state of hyperstatic union through hyperactive spinning and whirling dervish dancing.
Sure.
You know, they both reach the same state of ecstatic.
Right.
They both reach the same state of enlightenment through totally opposite
It moves you.
practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It moves people differently.
Exactly. And you know, we as people, it's interesting. I think that our society, as we have moved faster, Daniel, we have
Yeah.
forgotten the fact that we are vibrational beings, that when we walk into a room, we bring a vibration with us. Like
Right.
there is a sense of accountability to that when you
Right.
stop and think about it.
And some of us pick up on other vibrations around us.
Absolutely. Like you're a medium. And the other day when we had a chance to talk in our pre-interview conversation, I was talking about how I'm an emotive, you know, like I guess empath is the best
Yes,
way to put it.
empath is it.
And of course people have asked me for years, like, didn't that bother you working in rock and roll, working in clubs, even now working in live events, 10, 20,000 people in attendance? When I'm working, my blinders are on.
Right. You're in the zone.
And yeah. And I mean, hey, that horse on a carriage can pull like 20 people down a street with trucks and 18 wheelers and all kinds of things. You take that same horse down the same street with the same load without the blinders,
Right.
and
Stopping
enjoy
that
the
horse in
ride.
its tracks. Yeah.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
It may be a little bumpy.
Yeah, he's gonna be bucking you. That's what he's gonna do. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, and it's hard for us to slow down. It's hard for us to slow down on
Yes.
purpose, Daniel, and to find the time to really not just switch our brains off, but switch our brains on to the
Right.
frequencies that help us.
Yep, you hit it on the nail because people don't want to take the time to do it. They think they don't have enough time in the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, it really, and now granted, folks, I will tell you right now, don't listen to this music while you're driving down the road. Please.
Oh, binaural beats? Yeah.
Please.
I don't recommend that whatsoever.
Yeah, don't try it in a time-saving manner of like, oh, I'm gonna go audiobook on this and listen to it in my traffic ride. Like, you may
Yeah.
very well fall asleep in the middle of your driving.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a couple hours to kill because you're waiting to get in to see your doctor, maybe it's time to listen then. But you know,
Well, something like that. I tend to listen as I go to sleep.
Sure.
Many years ago, I got rid of a television in my bedroom, and here and there, what I have in my room now is therapeutic music. It is always on. It's always playing. There is always some sort of low tone frequency therapy going on in my bedroom.
yeah. Whenever people ask me about meditating, I tell them now that what I do. I went to a massage one time, and she put on this music, and as soon as I closed my eyes, I was in like that quick. And when I'm in meditation, I can actually talk to my guides just like this, and then they respond back to me and they tell me things, or they just touch my face. But when she put that on, I asked her about it. What is that? She says it's called binaural beats. I said, I've never heard that. So I tried it at home. But what I did was I put it on my phone. I went to YouTube, found binaural beats. I found one that I played a different couple of different ones, and I felt one that just felt right with me. And then I would ask, I said, "Is this the right one?" They'd tell me yes. I said, "Okay." I'd put it on, connect it to a Bluetooth speaker. So what I did at that point, being a musician, I put it in the corner of the room. That way it would come out and kind of engulf the entire room, which is I'm in, and then the next, I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's pretty remarkable. For those that may not be familiar with the concept of binaural beat, basically what it is two frequencies fed to each side of your brain. So one frequency going to the left ear, one frequency going to the right ear, and your brain, because of the separate oscillations going on, derives a third frequency from the sum of those two.
Right.
And that third frequency is your desired frequency, whether it's alpha waves to help you get to sleep, or delta waves to help you during deep sleep, or, beta waves for creativity when you're awake. There's gamma, beta, alpha, theta, delta. Those are the 5 bandwidths of human brainwave activity.
Would you say that's why people have to use white noise sometimes just to go to sleep?
Yes, absolutely. And especially because there are some people out there, Daniel, that, and I'm one of them, who are hyper sensitive in their hearing. It's a blessing and a curse.
Are you a light sleeper?
I am not a light sleeper once I'm asleep. I'm a light guy. It can be hard for me to get to sleep if there's something that I'm hearing. Very hard for me to get to sleep because it starts taking on rhythmic patterns in my head, things like that. But yeah, it's different. It's different.
I see so many spirit during the day and the nighttime. Again, it just never turns off for me. Even when I close my eyes, I see more. But with my eyes open, I see them just as well. I just see them clear with my eyes closed, but in the darkness, I keep my room completely dark so I can see everything. But I have to take medicine just to go to sleep at night, because if I don't, because there's no time and space there, they just talk to me. Yeah. And they will keep you awake. They just go, but we have to go to sleep. So I have to medicate myself with just some like ZQuil or something like that just to stay asleep. But
and I mean,
I'm a light sleeper.
For me, it's the fact of I've spent over half my life training my ears to hear minutia, to hear tiny little details that are wrong and things like that, as an audio engineer. So
and that's what I pick up from the binaural beats. I hear little.
And there are some people, believe it or not, Daniel, who I have a friend whose wife, he was like, "I love your stuff, man. Like, I listened to it whenever I was on the road all the time, and I came home for the first time coming off the road, and was there with my lady and putting it on as I went to sleep, and she couldn't deal with it. She couldn't handle it." There are some people where it literally feels like somebody is like taking something and wiggling it inside your ear with and it's strange. There are some people who the binaural beat is too much for their brain and activates them in a different way where it unnerves them.
Right.
It's interesting. But
like taking medicine, we think, this one medicine is across the board, but it affects people in different ways.
It does. And it's nothing that, it will be of any harm or anything like that. It just, when you listen to it, it's like, wow, yeah, that doesn't relax me.
Yeah.
Which was her exact reaction. Like, yeah, that doesn't relax me at all. That's kind of annoying. Like,
when I was young, I used to listen to a radio when I would go to sleep, and I had no problems. Now I can't even do that. Yeah. But the binaural beats, I play that, and I'm out like a light.
Well, and that's just it. For me, it's the fact of they help me focus on something that's not what's going on outside. Because at least in our old house, things like that, it was an older place, and I could hear neighbors talking on their back patio in our bedroom.
Sure.
Like it was, and my wife would be like, "I can't believe you can hear them right now." Yeah. And I would be like visibly shaken, Daniel, with the fact of like, my God, please, it's 1 a.m. Please go to bed.
Yeah,
Like, please
I
go to
do the
bed.
same
I
thing.
hear you like you are in my bedroom right
I
now.
hear the people outside. It sounds like they're talking on a microphone, and I can hear
Yeah.
them, what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Last
So,
night I got unnerved because this is the first time it had happened in our neighborhood since we've been here for a year. But I heard right down the street somewhere 12 gunshots go off at 12
oh,
o'clock at night last night. And I was like,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting for a bullet to come through. No,
And
I don't know if anybody else heard it, but I sure heard it.
well, and that's kind of what I was bringing up a while ago, Daniel, is that our brains have a, yes, we are frequency beings. We all participate in the divine.
Sure.
We are all unique in that way. However, our brains, our physical organ in there has evolved to amplify bad things. It's
Yeah.
strange because we learn through bad lessons. You know,
Yes,
we learn,
do.
ow, fire's hot. Don't touch fire. That's a
Right.
survival thing, you
Right.
know? So our brain kind of wants to live in this state of survival mode. And it's very comfortable there. It's very, very pliable there. It remembers things well in that state, and
Yeah.
it's more than willing to forget things it doesn't need in that state. But the problem is that is a not necessarily a high frequency state to live
Right.
in. That is a high intensity state
Yeah.
to live in.
I agree. I agree, because you're around some people and you will hear something and somebody will look at you and like, you didn't hear that?
Well, and it's not even that. It's the all permeation that we have now, Daniel. I'm almost 50 now.
Or
be
you?
50, it'd be 50 in a year and a half. I know.
I'm
It's horrible.
56, so you're
but
okay.
but I remember a day and age before WWW. I
Yeah,
remember a day and age before a dial tone on the end of a modem.
Yeah,
I remember a day and age when I didn't know what was happening in Poughkeepsie today, Daniel.
right.
I
I remember a day and age when if I wanted, I didn't sit around staring at a phone all day because I was outside playing. The phone was on the wall in my kitchen.
I remember a day and age when the television stopped broadcasting, Daniel.
When you got the snow.
When it
You got the
signed
snow on the
off.
screen. Yeah.
When it
and
signed off.
beep,
You know? And that's the thing. Our brains are inundated
Yes.
with information. And our brain is designed to disseminate and filter this information for survival first.
Yes.
You know, so the first thing it wants to do is be in a state of survival. The first thing it wants to do is be in a state of panic so that we have regularity to be over here. And we have to kind of fight that biological instinct.
Right. When I heard those
Calm
gunshots,
down.
I was like, what? I was like, I just stood
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
Waiting for
And
something else to happen.
it is our natural state as an animal to protect, to be on guard, and to find a way to relax your brain is hard. To
Yes.
find a way to step out of that is hard. To find a way to break the trance of the little black mirror in your hand
Right. Little
is
magic
hard.
box.
It's
Yeah.
hard, you know, and
Because even with phones, we have trained ourselves.
Yeah.
We're trained our children to do the same thing. When you walk through the grocery store and you see a kid who's 2 years old playing with your mom's phone.
yeah. Well,
We did that.
and that's just it. And it doesn't take long. It does not take long for that to take root. It also doesn't take long for us as human beings to forget things like sacred frequencies, to forget
Right.
things like frequencies heal you.
Right.
You know, there were reasons why ancient cultures got around and sang song
Sure.
around a fire, and it wasn't just to celebrate something. Frequently it was for religious purpose, it was for
Right.
medical purpose,
Right.
things like that.
Like how people do
frequencies.
drum circles these days.
Yeah,
those types of
yeah,
things.
they do. Even there is even the going theory of the fact of the Great Pyramids of Egypt are a frequency machine that are there to resonate.
Yes,
the people
absolutely. I
inside
do
of it.
not believe they are graveyards or any type of
Me
grave
neither.
type thing. No, it's
mean-
a power plant.
Yeah, it is definitely used for something else than otherwise. Why is the king's chamber like devoid of any sacred script?
Right.
Like you're dooming that poor man to an existence just in there. He would
Yes.
never go to the stars and go to the afterlife
No.
without all those sacred scripts.
Right.
Uh,
Right. So
but
he can take all that physical stuff with him, even
yeah,
though he doesn't take his own body with him. So
well, and we have to be willing to see that.
yeah.
We have to be willing to literally say the big phrase nowadays is trust the science, Daniel. Just listen to the science. If you
Yeah.
would, then you would understand that we are all 90% empty space,
Right.
and we are all nothing but energetic vibration.
Right.
I mean, the Nobel Prize for Physics, folks, went to quantum entanglement.
Yeah.
Went
Yeah.
to basically physical proof of ESP.
Right.
what remote viewers have been talking about for years.
Yes.
Non-local consciousness.
Yes. Yes. I actually do remote viewing. I don't have any
Oh,
control
wow.
over it. It just turns on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's strange for
And
me. It just turns on.
it's remarkable though, Daniel, because that stuff is quantifiable in a lab with numbers and statistics.
Right.
This is stuff that we've known about for years and years.
Yeah.
I mean, even the concept of binaural beats, that was early mid 60s with the Monroe Institute that came about. So why is it that this technology is just now taking hold in our modern society?
Right.
You know, I found out
We're
about it.
becoming more open. Some of us are becoming more aware.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Most
they
definitely.
want to know how. Everyone, when I talk to people, they all want to know, oh, I wish I had your gift. And I would always tell them, you just want the cool part. You don't want the other stuff.
Yeah.
But they don't know how to get to that point of having it. And as I tell everyone, but with being a medium, you either have this or you don't. But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean you can't connect with your soul. And
Well,
you can do that, but you have to be committed to do that. You can't just do it
Yeah.
sporadically. You got to do with like the same thing, like muscle memory. You got to do it regimented, and you have to do it all the time.
That's it. That's it. And the thing is, yes, things like binaural beats, stuff like that.
Can help.
It's not that they can help you become psychic,
Right.
Daniel. It's not that they can help you become a medium. However,
Right.
is every human brain capable of ESP, of sensory perception beyond itself? Yes.
We have it all the
I
time.
would firmly
People,
believe so.
you think about someone, and then the next thing you know, they
Abs-
call you on the telephone. What do you
absolutely.
think just happened?
And does that mean that everybody is able to communicate with spirits? No,
No.
I don't think so.
No.
However, can binaural beats help you get into a meditative state faster?
Yeah.
Yes. Can they? And that's just it. There's a lot of misconceptions out there with
Yes.
people, and there is no magic bullet, people. I'm sorry. I
No.
wish I could. Believe me. I wish I could just flash my website on screen and say buy it now, and I
Yeah,
guarantee you will
There's
have
no
these
magic
results.
diet.
That's-
No magic diet pill either. It's
No.
It's pick up a fork and put down the shovel. That's what that is.
It's and do the work and do
Yes.
the work and
Do what you need to do.
It's still doing the meditative work, doing the spiritual work. What this is another tool in your toolbox.
Right. Right.
To
when I
help
used
you
to,
craft.
when I tried to do meditation in the very beginning, I would have to just sit quiet. I would say out loud the word empty like 10 times and then say it in my mind 10 times, and then that would clear me out. But it was still about 30 or 40 minutes before I was clear enough to get anything, because as I explained to people, in order to get clear messages, you must have a clear mind.
Yeah. Yeah,
Empty.
precisely. And, I have used frequency work for years. When I first started using binaural beats in my music, it wasn't even for therapy, Daniel. When I found out about them, I thought it was pretty remarkable that just hearing a tone or a frequency for a certain amount of time could influence the brain and feeling. And
Sure.
I was hugely into, like I was saying, subliminal psychology, things like that, subliminal theater. use of subliminal audio,
Right.
movies like The Exorcist, things like that,
Sure.
where they used sounds in reverse and down below things to literally stir up emotions in
Right.
people.
Right.
And yeah, I would use frequencies that were associated with odd feelings, with feelings of being misplaced, things like that. And when people were like, "Wow, that music made me feel really weird. I don't know why." It was like, "All right, cool, worked."
You know, like when I watch TV, my wife and I watch TV. We put the subtitles on,
Mm,
so we can, because we can't always hear exactly what they're saying. But
yeah,
the thing about I love it that I think is funny is the it'll come up and it'll say when it's like something scary is supposed to be happening. It says
suspenseful music plays.
right, creepy music. So, yeah,
Well,
because it sets off the senses. It gets you into a state like, oh,
a
something's about to
prime
happen.
example that I just realized all of a couple weeks ago. And as an audio engineer and someone who does it for a living, it really blew my mind that I had never heard it before. Um, because I'm usually very present of mind with such things. But my wife and I watched the show Alone from Discovery Channel, where they
Sure.
dump people off in the wilderness.
Yeah.
She loves that show. I found it when I was on the road. We've been watching it for years. And just the other day was the first time underneath everything that I heard a heartbeat
Oh, gotcha. Because
underlaid.
the person itself
And
is
I have yet to
scared or-
unhear it. I've
Yeah.
yet to unhear it.
Yeah.
It's there present through the whole show.
Oh man.
When anybody's talking about their experience, it's just real low. It's below the level of the music.
Well, you're going to hear it because
And it
you're
was
the
like-
engineer.
It was like, ooh, ooh. And I caught it on a fade out. I caught it on a quick fade where I heard dum dum. And I was like, did they throw a heartbeat in? Oh my
Yeah.
geez. And I've heard it every episode since. And it's like, that is absolutely brilliant.
yeah. That's,
Because it psychologically sets you in a state
Yes.
of being on edge. It psychologically puts you in a state of being there with them in that experience.
you're picking up on it, but not everyone's aware of that. They're picking up on it.
yeah.
right?
Like my wife did not hear it. She did. It took her a long time for me to be like, you hear it? You hear it? There it is.
Right there, it's right
like,
there.
But it's in little sweet spots where you hear the music fade from one track to another,
Sure.
things like that you can pick it up. And that's kind of the idea with binaural beats, because once again, if you were here, let me give you a prime example. Here is a pure 40 hertz binaural beat right here. Let me play this out. So here it is. So that is a 40 hertz binaural beat going
Yeah,
on.
that's a low tone. Not too low, but it's a low tone.
Yes. The
But
range.
it brings you in, and you're like,
Oh,
you're
absolutely.
just kind of sitting there
Yeah.
like,
Very,
what's going
very
on
much
here?
the lower register of oh.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to kind of think of as octaves, because even if you're talking 40 hertz, 40 hertz is just 5 registers above 8 Schumann resonance. Schumann resonance is right between 7.83 and 8 hertz on the scale. And if you actively listen to that, a hertz, just so people are aware, to put it into music terms, there's BPM, which is beats per minute.
Right.
How many times you hear a thump in a song. But then there's hertz, and hertz is the cycles per second. So it's basically the beats per second
Right.
that you're hearing. A prime example
With
of
those
that
low
is
tones, do you think that's why all like the singing monks always come out
Yeah.
with that? Oh.
exactly deep throat Tibetan singing, things
Yeah.
like that. Very much in that range. And the human hearing itself is only 20 hertz below the tone that you were just hearing.
Right, but when that was playing, maybe because of me, being me, I didn't just get the
Yeah.
hearing of it. I got it within
Mhm.
me too. It felt
Oh, yeah.
it felt like my body was just like, you're stuck
Oh,
and you can't
because
move.
of yes, because it's very low,
Right.
40 hertz, 80. Just so you know, like a prime example would be the equalizer in your car, bass, mid, treble. Everything 100 hertz and below is bass.
Right.
So, and your human hearing basically starts at 20 hertz. So that is, once again, just above the level where you can hear it and
Right.
more at the level where you feel it.
You feel it.
Another good example of that would be a cat purr. The part that you feel of a cat purr
Right.
is 8 hertz. That's right at what
That's
Schumann
low.
resonance is.
Yeah.
The same as the Earth's heartbeat, which is what they attribute to a lot of a cat's healing quality. Is the actual frequencies and octaves of the frequencies of its purr.
Do you ever use any of those purrs in your binaural?
Absolutely,
binaural?
absolutely, yeah.
So
I use
when you do that. So when you're composing this music,
Mhm.
do you take outside sources to put into that as well, beyond just doing sounds on a keyboard
Oh,
or another
absolutely.
instrument? Yeah.
Yeah, I incorporate a lot of live stuff inside of my music. Um, I'm trying to remember the name of the track off of my album Meditations for Cosmic Journey, or Music for Meditation and Cosmic Journeys. Theta Realm, 528 hertz. That is one of my favorite sounds in the world, cicadas.
Oh,
The sound of cicadas singing.
Yeah.
I grow up in Texas. We've been over 100 degrees for a month now. I think it's like 105 out today.
yeah. That's what it is today out here in
The
Arizona.
cicadas are 24/7
Yeah.
right now.
Right.
It's
So
just
you don't hear
constant.
anything but that. Right.
It's constant.
Yeah. But I would guess, just like anything else, when it's constant like that, eventually it just becomes part of your day. And
Yeah, it's
doesn't-
background noise.
Yeah, it's kind of background noise filtered out.
And
there.
it's interesting because when you're talking meditation, Daniel, much the same way that some people can't handle binaural beats, some people meditate to different things. I have a friend that meditates to the sound of streets.
Okay.
Like, he grew up in a major metropolitan area,
Right, like in
in
people who say
downtown.
they live in New York, they
Yeah.
go to the country, they can't sleep because
Yeah.
they're used to that
How
sound.
often the train come by? So often you
Right.
don't even notice.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Yeah.
you'll notice it your whole life, but to them it's background noise and it's comforting. You know, for me that sound is racket. For him,
Yeah,
it's
that would drive me insane.
it's soothing. It's soothing. Same thing. I had a friend move from Maine, and his first summer, he freaked out. He had never heard cicadas. He didn't know what the heck this critter was. He was like, "What the hell is that
Yeah,
sound?
Yeah.
What is that?" I was like, "That's a cicada." He's like, "What?" I was like, "Well, you may have heard them, locusts." And I caught one and showed him, and he was like, "Oh my God, that thing sounds weird." To me, it's comforting. It's like the sound of crickets when I go camping,
Right.
you know. And there are some people that drives crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, folks, but there are some tracks that I do that have crickets. There are some there are some tracks that I do that have cicadas, and yeah, I will go out with a high definition recorder and my really nice microphones and climb up, put them in a tree that I know has cicadas in it regularly, and I will wait. I will wait like a fisherman with my record
Right.
button.
Waiting for it to happen. Yeah, I would have to imagine the anticipation drives you crazy, you know?
It's kind of like being a wildlife photographer, though,
Yeah.
Daniel, where it's like you're waiting for that shot. I
perfect
akin
moment.
it very much to when I first started in video. I did a lot of mitzvahs and weddings. I worked for a big mitzvah and wedding house. And though it may seem formulaic, there is a process to shooting that. And there's
Sure.
a wonderful process to shooting that. And you just got to know it's all right. It may look like I'm doing nothing. No. I am stalking my shot right now.
You're waiting. Yeah.
I know what is coming.
Yeah, you're waiting. You're waiting.
just waiting.
Because they're your prey. That's what it is.
Well, it's the fact of like, I'm here, my gear's ready. I know the shot's going to happen. Like, this happens at every one of them. You know,
It's
like,
just a matter of when.
it's going to
not a matter
happen.
of
They're
if.
going to put them up on the chair.
Yeah,
They're all getting in a circle. They just brought out a chair.
Right.
I just have to wait now.
Yeah. Here comes here comes
It,
the climax. It's going
here
to be
comes the
awesome.
good content. And
Yes.
it really is, some of that is just knowing the moment, knowing what you're recording. Some of it is, yes, being at the right place, the right time.
Sure.
There are also some where people are like, my God, how did you get that incredible definition of crickets singing? And I tell them the truth of, well, I went out and I bought 3 dozen crickets and I put them in a paper bag.
Right.
And then I
You
put a
made your own little
microphone in the
cricket
bag.
studio.
Yeah, yeah. I put a microphone in the bag and then I put them in a dark closet and I waited.
Right.
And then crickets just do what they do in the dark.
Yeah.
They
They're going to
just
do
start
what they do
singing.
anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, I try to incorporate things from the world around us into our music or into my music. I try to even frequencies of the planets, things like that. There's an album that
Cool.
I am busy remastering right now, Ecliptic, that I wrote many, many years ago. I did not have the skill set that I do now. So I'm kind of retooling some of
Sure.
that,
Sure.
but made very much with the intent of people who do planetary and astrologic meditation, like right now, where Saturn is huge in our night sky and very, very close to us. Yeah, being able to listen to the frequencies of Saturn, things like that, and utilize those as part of your meditation could help you tune
I
into
get
it a
that.
bit more.
Yeah, I get that. I had with this ability that I have, it changes all the time. And there was a time I was at the chiropractor's office. I was about to get out of my truck, and as I put both of my feet on the ground, I had to stop for a moment because I could feel the vibration of the earth coming up into my legs, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And I jumped back in my truck. When I did, I was
Yeah.
fine again. As soon as I put my feet back down again, I felt this vibration. It overtook me, and it just threw me for a loop. But it was just something I needed to get used to having now, and now I'm used to it. But it
Yeah.
freaked me out at first.
It can, and it's kind of like when you first get into vivid dreaming, things like that, and you realize like, oh, wait a minute.
There's something else going on here.
Yeah, yeah. And, binaural beats can definitely help you reach those states a little bit faster. I definitely, that's partially what Theta Wave, or Theta Realm, my track that we were just talking about was written for, was to help people reach places of either ecstatic prayer or lucid dreaming in their work.
Yeah, it helps me get into meditation very quickly within a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doesn't take long. But again, I've been doing that for a few years now. So like you say, as soon as you turn it on, that the whole muscle memory thing, my body, my soul knows exactly what to pick up on, and it does very quickly, and it doesn't take very long. And then while I'm meditating, I keep that music playing, but eventually things start coming in, and that's just kind of background noise now. And
Yeah.
but it keeps me in that state.
Absolutely. And I mean, one of the big communities that I've gotten involved with over the last few years, Daniel, is the targeted individual community. People who basically suffer Havana syndrome
Yes.
Type symptoms, claims of gang stalking, all kinds of horrible things, and loss of sleep, constant tinnitus, things like that. And I wrote an album to help people. Like, I had so many requests from targeted individuals asking me to write them a piece of music to help them sleep,
Sure.
that I actively just wrote an album for that.
So how do you know exactly what to write for that? Where do you come up with the ideas?
A lot of that comes from whenever somebody contacts me, I ask them what they are having problems with. Are you having problems with brain fog? Are you having problems, sleeping, socializing? Are you having digestive issues? Things like that, because they're much like light therapy, things like that. The whole realm of frequencies can be used audio wise.
So from doing it as long as you have been doing it, now you know which frequencies, which hertz to use at particular moments that are going to make the changes for what they need.
Yeah. And there have been numerous studies done over decades and decades from researchers, scientists, things like that. I've collected tons of studies and different different medical journals, things like that, that people have used these frequencies for different things.
This was Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson, with composer Christopher Jordan, with part 1 of Frequencies for Your Mind. For more information about Christopher, visit his website at artofchristopherjordan.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson.